Welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video Core Pick live stream for today, Thursday, September 7th. As always, we'll be going over the recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out. Going over to RotoWire, talking about the weather report for the games that are in play for today. It's a 6-game main slate, so it's a pretty small one once again. Be a pretty interesting slate overall, though. And then we'll go over to FanDuel, talk about my core picks for today. It's going to be one pitcher, 4 hitters, a combination of past history plus recent history to make those 5 today. A lot of the hitters, it's just going to be a lot of past history for most of them. Some of these guys have good matchups respectively versus their opposing pitcher. And then last but not least, we'll go over to the YouTube community tab, talk about our top GPP teams to stack overall. That cheat sheet is 100% free. It's up on Facebook, it's up on Twitter, it's up on the YouTube community tab. So definitely be sure to check it out as you are building out your lineups for tonight. If you're interested in more in-depth notes, be sure to check out the Patreon of patreon.com/Coach Greg Sports. Notable hitter versus pitcher matchups listed over there, whether or not I would consider a pitcher in play, a risky play, or a straight up avoid on any given slate, Monday through Friday. And then some additional top stacks on some of the larger slates throughout the week. But without further ado, we'll get kind of started with yesterday's picks. So we had Max Scherzer, a pitcher. He was $10,400. Unfortunately, ended up with 0 points yesterday. Gave up like 7 earned runs. So he wasn't good. Spencer Strider wasn't good. So if you got to Justin Verlander, he's kind of like one of the few good pitchers yesterday. So hopefully that was the case, at least for some of your lineups yesterday. I always do recommend mixing and matching pitchers quite a bit, especially when there is some higher name pitchers out there, even on a small slate. And then at first base, we had Andrew Vaughn at $2,700. Really strong day for him. 34.4 points. He was a hit, second overall first baseman on the slate. Top guy actually ended up being Jose Abreu, his former teammate. Then at second base, we had Ozzie Albies, $3,700. Unfortunately, went 0 for 5 yesterday, so he got 0 points and was a miss. Kerry Carpenter in the outfield with 9.5 points for us. So at $3,000, did call him a hit still. It was about that double-digit points that we're looking for out of him. And then last but not least, we had Pete Alonso at 4,000. He got to 9 points, so did ultimately end up giving him a push since we were looking for at least double-digit points out of him at $4,000. Still a little bit of a hit or miss day. You have some really good hitters to make up for the pitching detriment that was Max Scherzer on yesterday's slate. So a little bit unfortunate there. You're going to have that sometimes in MLB DFS, though. We're going to get off this screen, get over to RotoWire, and talk about the weather report for today. So let me get that brought up as we're talking here. I do believe I'm lagging a little bit on my end today. I do apologize for that. Internet's been a little bit hit as of late, so I do apologize for that. Probably makes me sound like a robot at certain points in time. But just kind of going through this weather report today, we got dome, 12% chance of rain in New York between the Yankees and the Tigers. Then we move over to 3% chance of rain in Atlanta for the Braves and the Cardinals. Both those games should be fine. Only a 4% in Chicago for the Diamondbacks and the Cubs. And then last but not least, we have Los Angeles, which has 0 chances of rain. So really nothing major here at this point in time. If anything does majorly change throughout the day, we'll leave it down in the comments below, as well as many starting laps as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. But with that being said, we're going to get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks for today overall. So like I said, it's going to be one pitcher, 4 hitters, a combination of past and recent history. Mainly past history today for the hitters, though. Outside of the hitters, there will be a pitcher. We're going to start kind of at the tippy top. Max Fried, he looks like kind of the cut and dry guy at the top. $10,006 extremely well since he's been back. But looks like we're lagging a little bit here. Going against the Cardinals today. Do apologize for the lag. First time, average about 34 fantasy points per game at 40 in 2022. Is not against the 52-year 6 points. So he's been really well. One start. Couple starts there, so 2 pass starts, 13 and a 12. One of them was his first start back, though, so not too worried about him today. The update that he does present. You know, there's a couple other pitchers on today's slate that you could probably mix and match if you really want to go that direction, but he's kind of a clear-cut favorite in my personal opinion for today. Then we're going to move down to first baseman, Matt Olson. This is our one hitter that's been doing pretty well as of late. I like to match up against Adam Wainwright, although he is only 1 for 8 versus Adam Wainwright in his career. $4,200, averaging about 14 fantasy points per game. 270 average, 46 home runs, 115 RBIs. If you look at what Matt Olson's kind of done as of late, minus 3-game streak, a little bit of an over before that, pretty well before that, but the last 3 games have been multi games. He's done run all games, so do like the upside that he does present today in a very favorable matchup versus Adam Wainwright today. Then we're going to move down to Gleyber Torres at $33. He is going hosting Eduardo Rodriguez for the Detroit Tigers tonight. He is 8 for 25 with homers for this career. It's really one of the highest term home runs versus their pitched opponent today. 272 average, 24 home runs, 61 RBIs. Nice little bounce back season for Gleyber Torres. 2 years ago was when he had the down year. But, he's been doing pretty well as of late. Minus 3-game hitting streak. There's a multi-hit in there, which did include a home run. Then there was no further. Then we had a lot of 3 multi-hit games before that. So 6 out of the last 7 games have been really good for him. Do like the outside that he is, at least in terms of his career perspective versus Eduardo Rodriguez, who's pitched relatively well this season. Then we're going to get down to the outfield. These are 2 guys probably didn't think I was going to mention in a core pick at some point this year, but both of them are relatively cheap at the same time. We got Mickey Mantle, who is $2,800. He is 4 for 5 with 2 runs in his career versus Cal Quantrill, who is the expected starter for the Cleveland Indians tonight. $2,800, averaging just over 9 fantasy points per game. 280 average, 13 home runs, 43 RBIs for Mickey Mantle. Yeah, it could steal base in there too as well. Definitely like the potential of him as a paid option today. I don't know where it's in the order, but modest 3-game hitting, 2 of those games as well. A little bit of over there, which seems to be the theme today. And it's been pretty good as a little bit more hit or miss than some of these other guys, but do like him at his price tag. $20, a good history versus Cantrell in the past. And then last but not least, Ramon Laureano is here. He's $2,600. He is 6 for 15 with 3 home runs versus Griffin Canning, who is the expected starter for the Angels today. Looks like we got a little bit of a problem loading Ramon Laureano. Obviously, he was with the A's earlier this season. Hasn't been the greatest this year. 222 average, 8 home runs, 31 RBI. So if you don't want to play him, definitely does make some sense. They have a good history in the past for Griffin Canning. Although it was a couple years back at this point in time, 8 fantasy points per game, $20. Kind of another pay down option today. Has a little bit of history there in the past. Over here on yesterday's slate, but had a modest 3 games. So, guy could be a little bit more hit or miss. Hasn't been the greatest this season, for say, but what kind of cheap pay down option? Probably a lot of people are getting on the slate overall, though. But with that being said, that's kind of what I do have in terms of core picks for today. If you would ultimately go with these 5 players, you'd have $11,500 remaining, just under $2,900 per player. So it could be an interesting slate there. Obviously, stacks are going to play a major role in GPPs, but just want to highlight these 5 guys based on their history, past and recent history is for today's slate overall. Got to pay all 5 together, but if you did, that's kind of where you'd be at. Could have a potential to pay out probably up to around years gap, but could be up a little bit, pay down a couple other spots. Not much, not as value today as there was yesterday with a pretty good value overall. Maybe a little bit more balance, but the rest of the way, or some benefit just as well. But with this there, stuff over to the community for talk about. So we have the Atlanta Braves going to stay out whatsoever at this point in time. It does look like we're lagging. So I'm going to give this a minute as we kind of do this. I will restart my talking point here. So we have the Atlanta Braves going against the Wainwright today. Adam hasn't pitched for the season. They're just getting him to 200 wins at this point in time since the Cardinals aren't competing for anything. Do you like the Braves hitters versus him quite a bit? Some of these guys have hit him pretty well. Michael Harris is another one that also ended up in the core picks at $2,800, 3 for 3 versus Adam Wainwright. Then we have the Chicago Cubs going against Ryan Nelson. No real history there. So it's Cody Bellinger still for 2 versus him, but he's the one who's faced did not pitch well prior to his motion. He's called today, so we'll see how that ends up for him. Then we're against Braxton Jarrett. Not long as his he bet 2 runs. Another guy that could have been a potential core pick option as well. Kind of and Max Fried together eliminated him from that contention, just with trying to get you guys as much value and as many as possible moving forward. Freddie Freeman also 2 for 4 versus him. I was kind of between him and Matt Olson in my cheat sheet for the payoff option at first. Both are very viable. And then we do have the Seattle Mariners going against Zach Littell for the Tampa Bay Rays. Most of these guys faced him before. Josh Rojas, the only one that's really faced him, had some success, 2 for 3, but was not very good in his most recent starts. I think the Seattle Mariners could take advantage of that once again, and he's not a very high strikeout pitcher. Although, Seattle is a team that typically strikes out a little bit more than some other teams. But with that being said, that have for any additional questions related to MLB DFS whatsoever, sure drop them down in the comments. I'll get back to you as quick as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on tonight's slate, whether it is someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top G6, or whether it is a completely different player. I'm definitely interested in hearing what you have to say. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have at this point in time. If you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to do so, would ask that you do subscribe. Definitely would appreciate to the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS Monday through Friday. We got CFL DFS once a week. That's over on the DraftKings side. That will be coming out later today. May be late this morning or earlier this afternoon, just kind of time you're in. But will they be posting that up for the live stream? And then NFL season week 1 right around the corner, starts tonight technically. So we'll be doing some NFL DFS content for the main slate probably tomorrow. And then also be sure for the lookout. Talk right now. Also, be sure to look out for my college sports show over on the Sports Affiliation. Subscribe over this. Coach goes back to college, highlighting 2 prospects, the game of the week, and my favorite prop of the week overall. Quick little short show over there, kind of like this, but a little bit more focused on the college football side. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have at this point in time. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, whether you're watching live or on replay. Definitely, I hope that each and every one of you and pretty good MLB DFS tonight.